Alright, y'all. I got gravel in my travel, and apparently it's always going to stay there. I did a biopsy back in December, and I got the results back for that last week. And I got a thyroid thing since 2015, and that's possibly the medications might be changed on that. But I had no energy this weekend. You're lucky you got a video Saturday, because I really felt like I'd walked on across some pad and just zapped all my energy out. I'll talk more about it after the song. And it also causes dry mouth, dry eyes, and a bunch of other stuff. I'll explain later. Goodbye comes hard to me. I just remembered something that you forgot to do. The bedroom door needs painting, and the walls are fading too. Angie's bike needs fixing, that all takes time, you see. When it's goodbye to all our love, goodbye comes hard for me. Goodbye comes hard for me, and I'm holding to your sleeve. I hope you change your mind and you decided not to leave. My face is wet, I've cried, I guess. I love you now, you're free. When it's goodbye to all our love, goodbye comes hard for me. So I'll just look at things once more. I'll check out every room. You must have dropped your comb somewhere, and a man must stay well groomed. I know you have the right to stay, but I know you don't agree. And I know I'm not a fooling you. Goodbye comes hard for me. Goodbye comes hard for me, and I'm holding to your sleeve. I hope you change your mind and you decided not to leave. My face is wet, I cried, I guess. I love you now, you're free. When it's goodbye to all our love, goodbye comes hard for me. And my mouth is dry as a desert. I thought I have to take a fluid pill every day, or I'll blow up. I will. I gained back when all this junk was starting. I gained 20 pounds of fluid weight from the waist up. I had to buy new shirts. Oh, honey. And I just said, well, when I get that damn fluid, I felt like I had rings on my fingers. And I didn't. But I still have to take it. And when I started getting that fluid off me, boy, you could see the water level go down in my eyes. But when I went back to my original weight. I must have widened out, I don't know, but those bigger shirts still fit, but I'm not as heavy. Somebody told me they thought I was lifting weights. They should know better than that. But anyway, I used to when I was younger. But I know if I do it now, I'll get a cramp. But anyway, 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I started talking like this with that gravel sound. But I was a little bit more like a robot sound. It would come and go. And I could be half the day in my normal voice, and then the last half of the day be like this. And then it'd be like sometimes it was like I would switch half sentence or part way into a sentence. It was aggravating. And some days it still is. I think I've gotten used to it. My eyes changed. I had my dad's eyes. I had compliments on my eyes. But now they get that expressive look, and I know nothing about it. And I don't intentionally try to do it. It just does it. I don't have Graves' disease or anything like that. And I went walking. I went out to go for a walk one day. When I got out of my car, half my left foot was numb. It only took me about 5 minutes to get to where I was going to go walk. So it's not like it should have went numb. And after I walk a little bit, feeling comes back. But I don't go through that pins and needles type feeling, when you getting the feeling back into your hand or something like that. I don't go through that. It's either there or it's not there. Well, I got very noise sensitive. Stuff that I used to hear all the time, all of a sudden feels like a nail going in my head. My neck muscles were getting such bad spasms and not releasing that my ears couldn't drain like they should. And there were days my balance was a little, and even if you had ear things, it'll mess up your balance sometimes. Well, me and heat didn't get along. But that's one thing with thyroid. You can have heat intolerance. But my fatigue was bad, again. But I got it back. But this weekend, I got knocked back down. This weekend was like when I first found out I had a thyroid problem. Mine was low. So, anyway, I take my medicine every day like I'm supposed to. But anyway, I was having twitches, like I still have twitches in my face, bag leg cramps. But it was after I would exert myself. Say I was cutting grass with a push mower. I take several breaks, and I drink water, or I water down Gatorade because of that high sodium in it. And I stayed hydrated. I took breaks. I used common sense, okay, out there. And that's my form of exercise. So I use a push mower. And if I got Mel Tillis in that earbud kicking, I'm going to be slinging that lawnmower or trying to, because I can get happy with Mel singing sometimes. That Good Woman Blues, and there's another one he does that I'll be slung that lawnmower somewhere. But behind my knee, the first time it happened was on my right leg. After I cut grass, put everything away, made it in the house, got a shower. I was going to go sit on the bed and watch some TV and chill out. And while I'm laying there on the bed, right behind my knee goes into a spasm. These spasms aren't just like a tight muscle. It's like it becomes a rod. And I cannot bend my leg at the knee. So when that happened, me looking like Dad Blaine Chester from Gunsmoke, stiff-legged, walking into the kitchen to get something to help me with the spasm. And it doesn't release until it's ready to release. And it was more of the leg than the foot. Well, after that, I knew that I was going to have to start taking a little bit of time after I cut grass to see if it was going to happen, because I didn't want it to happen in the shower. Well, it don't happen every time. So I usually sit around about 30 minutes while I go get in the shower. Well, this past year, it hit me on both legs. I had just a little bit of more trim work to do with a weed eater. And something in me said, you need to go in the house now. And normally I would argue with it, but I didn't this time. And I started putting everything away. And as soon as I went to put my foot on the first step to come in the house, both legs went into it. So I'm glad I paid attention and made it in the house. I was able to sit down until it decided to release. And I sat there even longer after it did that. And then I went and got a shower. It's happened one or two more times to me. But I never had spasms wake me up at night. After that biopsy they did back in December, my left leg, where they took them from, it'll do it now every once in a while, but not a lot. So I went and had an ultrasound done on my thyroid. I got more nodules than I used to have, but not big enough to do a biopsy on. Well, I argued with that doctor because I had all this other stuff going on, and I'm trying to find out why I feel so bad, and he's like, well, it's not your thyroid. I'm going to send you to an ENT, so about your hearing and all, and I'm going to suggest you go get a sleep analysis done. I said, I don't have sleep apnea. Well, are you tired when you wake up? Yes, but I sleep real good and I do not have sleep apnea. I will argue you into the ground over this. I know I don't have it. I canceled that sleep apnea appointment. I went to see the ENT and my hearing test came out for where it should be for my age. And he suggested I have a carotid artery ultrasound. They came back clear. And they did an MRI on my head for the bones and ears and junk. They found a little bit of white matter. And he said, don't worry about that. Everybody's got it. I said, do they have this, and this, and this going on with them? They got this, and this, and this. Well, you might want to go see somebody about that. That's why I'm here trying. Anyway, I got sent to a neurologist because they were starting to think one of it was beginning stages of MS. And all the symptoms I was having, I've had them before, but it was apart from each other. Now they're all of a sudden they're coming together. Well, I went to Duke. This is when COVID was still going on toward the end of it. I couldn't get into a neurologist close to me because of COVID and their scheduling. My doctor, she sent like 3 different referrals in and saying, hey, this person's having more issues. You need to get them in there and see what's going on type thing. Well, they called me to make the appointment a day or two before I went to Duke. So I said, I'm going to make this appointment for a second opinion. Went to Duke. All I did was sit there and talk to a neurologist. He looked at the MRIs, talked to him about my symptoms. When I did heel to toe walk, he said, sit down. And he said, I think you got sensory neuropathy. And hasn't done any test other than what he's just looked at me. He said, I can give you this, this, and this type of drug. And I turned him down. I said, I want to know what's wrong with me before I take anything. And right now, that's just something that's going to treat symptoms. And I really don't want that stuff. He looked at me like I was crazy, because majority of people want the medication. They don't feel like they've seen a doctor unless they leave with a prescription. So I told him, I said, I don't want to mask this and then make it harder to find out what it is. So he said, can we do some blood work? I said, yeah. And they took, I think he remembered if it was 12 or 14 vials of blood, and sent me a daggone bill for my part for about close to $1,000. I then went to see the other neurologist. Everybody likes him. They say he's good. But he would sit there with me and go, you know what? I was treating this person for this. But later on it turned into be totally something different, and it was that. And then I'm like, dang, he's unsure of himself. Then he sent me across the street to the hospital to get more blood work done. Then I was scheduled for a neuroconductive test. That didn't bring anything up. And then I did a CT scan right before I had a spinal tap done. Still nothing. Then I had another MRI done of the upper thoracic. They couldn't find what they were looking for. So I go back in and he says, well, I was treating this other individual, but they ended up with something else than what I really thought in the beginning. I stopped them. And I said, listen, I'm not them, and they're not me. And if this is something like MS, or it is MS, we all know that you can have a normal test result all day long and still have it. I just want to know what's wrong. I'm not saying that it is that, but I want to know what it is. He says, I've done about every test I can think of. Finally, he says, I said, well, what about sleep analysis? Will that show anything? Knowing that I don't have sleep apnea. He said, now that is something I can help you with. Oh, okay. So I go do the sleep analysis. I do not have sleep apnea, nor do I have narcolepsy. So that shut some other people up, including the insurance company, because they wanted to tell me to go get one. And I told them, I said, look, y'all fill my medications and you pay on my medical bills, correct? Well, if y'all pay attention to what you're paying money out on, you would see I've already had a sleep analysis done and it was negative. And boy, that lady got quiet with the insurance company. Well, how you know? I said, that's what I went and had done. They told me what it was. Can you send us something stating that? Sure can. My doctor, family doctor, sent it to them. Shut them up. Because I was supposedly diagnosed with shift work disorder, which is part of the severe fatigue that I have, so I could stay awake and work and pay bills and take care of my tail. And they didn't want to, I guess, continue playing on that medication because I have to get it approved every year. Well, it shut the insurance company up that I don't have that stuff. Well, I didn't go back to see that neurologist. And I'm going through all this stuff. And I'm trying to read stuff and try to figure out what it could be. They got up with me and said, you need to make an appointment because it's been a while since you've been in here. I'm thinking I'm going to see him again. I didn't. He had retired. And I was seeing a PA that works with a neurologist there. Thank God for her. She had worked with MS patients. I read up on her stuff before I even saw her. That was most of her experience. And so we went through everything, this whole story I'm going through. There's a lot more symptoms that I'm putting out. But she said, are you willing to do a small fiber neuropathy type test? I said, what's it consist of? And she told me, there's only 2 places in North Carolina that does it, which is UNC and Duke. So I went to UNC. And that was on December the 8th, and it came back positive. And I'm sitting there thinking, thank God. It's bittersweet, but thank God, because I had told that man before, I said, the way you look at me and the way women get treated medically, when stuff like this happens and y'all can't find evidence of it, it's like they're a hypochondriac or it's all in their head. And he told me, he says, Lisa, I believe it. I believe you got it. You know, going on with you, just don't know what it is yet. He never suggested that test. Well, it came back positive. Got to looking at everything about it, and it's everything I'm going through. Because I found out that he was going to try to label me as having fibromyalgia and extreme fatigue disorder. And thank God for that lady that I went to see. If I'd been fed up and said, no, I'm done. She knew what she was talking about. She knew what she was doing. And then I'm supposed to see her this past Tuesday, because that's when I'm supposed to get the results and find out what we're going to do and everything. Well, I get a call last week saying that she has left the practice because her husband's in the military and they're having to move. I said, Lord, there she goes. So now I'm going to have to see a different neurologist there. And I won't be able to see him till March. So I said, hey, look, I had a biopsy. Can anybody tell me what the outcome was? What's the results? I had to leave a message on voicemail because that lady couldn't tell me anything because it didn't come up on her computer. The lady called me back, told me it was positive. And I said, what do they usually give out for that type of health issue? I said, and she told me, I said, I don't want that stuff. I understand not everybody reacts the same to medications, but I've just seen too much. I don't want it. At least now I know what I'm dealing with. And I told her about my neck. My neck still hasn't completely released. And she said, I'm going to see if I can get you in here sooner than March. And I'll let you know. And I'm going to put you on the list in case somebody cancels. They called me Monday. And I got to go in there yesterday and meet that neurologist. I really, really wish that lady was close by, because he was, I want to say lethargic. I think he was having an issue with fatigue. And it was more like, here's what we give out for this, take it or leave it. Pretty much, that's the way it was. And I told him right then, I said, what's other stuff that we can do? Because majority of people that have this, there's an underlying issue of why they have it. He's telling me that I don't have one. It can be an autoimmune disorder that causes this. It could be genetic. And so he's telling me I don't have an underlying issue. I just have it. And it, like I said, with the peripheral nerves, deals with your senses. I can get up right now from this table and have my foot, I can't feel it, but I can keep walking. My face has lost some of the sensitivity in it, or the feeling. It's not completely numb, but I can, feel it, but not if it had the full feeling in it. The inside of my mouth has done it. My hand here, this here, is pretty much, it's been lacking the full sensitivity for quite a while. There's times I've laid back on my bed at night to go to sleep, and it feels like pop rocks under my skin. The nerves are just wide open, just going completely off, like popcorn popping up under my skin. The neck, if it gets too tight, and it usually happens on this side, but it's starting on this side now. It will go over my shoulder blade, come up my shoulder, come up to the side of my neck, and it will snap like a rubber band. Somebody taking popped skin. When it snaps that way, it kind of has a ripple effect, the way it radiates out, because it'll snap there, and you can feel like a fiber muscle or something, or the tendon or whatever, snapping against the other ones. And then it'll just radiate out. It would do it in my neck. Because the first thing I thought was, I said, that's like a spider web. Well, now it'll come up and do it on the side of my face. My lips, for the first year or so, would buzz 24/7. Never stopped. The right side of my leg, between my knee and my ankle, it feels like I got a streak of a hose there, like a pantyhose, because you can feel the difference I can feel the difference if my pants leg hits my leg when I'm walking, between that part and another part of my lower leg. I can get up in the morning, walk in the kitchen to make me some coffee, and I can't feel all of my foot. It doesn't make it, it's either foot. It does its own thing. Getting out of this chair. I could be sitting in this chair 1 minute, get up, my backside will be numb. It doesn't happen every time. So it's sporadic, it's a cycle. The balance thing, it tried to come up, a little over a week ago, it tried to come back up on me, where I can be driving down the road, and all of a sudden I get this feeling the ground in front of my car is going to fall out. And in here, I know that ground is not going to fall out. And the doctor said, what do you do? I said, I keep going. I said, even if I'm walking, it happens. I keep going because I got the common sense to know the ground will not fall out. It's mind over matter. But you have to be mentally strong enough not to stress over and let it take over, because then it's going to control you. You don't get into a panic over it, because you know the ground is not going to fall out. I've been riding down the road, my thumbs start moving to the side. I was drying my hair one day. This side of my face, the skin, it just shifted over and it came back. Talking about, oh honey, I grabbed my phone and I'll turn the video thing on. It didn't do it again. It has been frustrating because you don't know when it's going to pop up. It has not been researched a lot. A lot of people don't have this, and they're just treating it the same way they're trying to treat other people with neuropathy. So, when it comes to the eye thing, I can't say. I don't know if it's the thyroid or this stuff. Maybe it's a combination to the both, because it has changed the way I read stuff. And I see myself when I look at the camera, looking back at me. And I'm not an ego person, but if it's this what nervous stuff is starting to bother me and I'm doing this, I can't keep my concentration there all the time. So it's something you learn to live with, I guess. I've got to go back to a neurologist in 4 months. No, 6 months. and see my family doctor in 4 months unless I need her before then. I guess that she'll call me sometime, probably before the end of the week, and tell me about my thyroid. But, that's all I can say. That's one of the reasons why I started my channel on YouTube. One was because of the traditional sound. I wanted to do that. Because I'm tired of everybody saying, hey, you can't find it no more. Yeah, it's out there. Well, instead of complaining, come up with some kind of plan to help the situation. So I did this. And then the other reason is my speaking voice. I didn't know if my voice would go back to how it was before this. And so far it hasn't gone back. And I said, well, if this gets any worse, I want to catch it and do some of this here before I can't. So that's the whole story. And I spoke with the retirement people last week. And I was told I could retire anytime I wanted to. I done made everything. So I'm in the process of heading in that direction and finding another job to do, because I'm not going to sit here at this house. That's not me. It can control some things about me, but I got some say about some other things. And my tail will continue to work, because I've always said anybody that retires early and never goes anywhere, sits in the house all the time, you lose your ability to communicate with others. You just basically dwindle slowly away from society, and that's not what I want. It's time to have fun now. I did the policy thing for years upon years, and now it's my time. Not that I'm much different, but I'm talking about I ain't got to worry about somebody picking a phone up and saying, hey, you shouldn't have said that, or, so-and-so took that the wrong way, or you're in a damn fishbowl. So it's not like I want to say something hurt somebody's feelings. It's nothing like that. It's just that you want to feel that little bit of freedom where you can breathe. And it ain't going to be long. I'm going to be retired. So, get these medical